Yo, what's up, YouTube? I just want to speak on this Al Haymon thing again. It's part two. I guess Big Al part two. Big Al Haymon, Big Al the Boss part two. Some new information's come out. It's privy to me. I listened to some debates with the Boxing Voice, and I'm listening to The Wire, and I read a few articles. I didn't read that lawsuit. I wasn't going to read no 50-page lawsuit because it's irrelevant. They only got 2 points with that Chavez check, which was explained to me when I met up with, had a chance encounter with Casino for Life. And that extra check came from, the revenue he made off of streaming the fights in Mexico. So they did a blockout on the networks up in Mexico. So people were forced to go online and watch it via stream. So that's where he got the extra million or so, check from Al Haymon. Whether it's Al Haymon or his manager or whatever, he that's how he got the extra money. So he got the purse bid money, and he got the extra check from his fan base up in Mexico. And you know what? That's happened before, because I believe who's that? I don't know, it was Lucas Matisse or Diego Chavez. I think Diego Chavez, when he fought Tim Bradley, I think he only got X amount of dollars, maybe like 75,000 or so. But the kickback to that was he was able to get all the extra revenue money from advertisement and all the other stuff from it being televised in Argentina. That was like all his money. So even though they paid him a little bit up front, he was going to get a bulk of his money from it being on television or like pay-per-view or whatever they had in Argentina. So anyway, my thing was going to Al Haymon and this thing, and excuse me, a lot of people saying, shitting on PBS, excuse my language, crapping on the, PBC, the Premier Boxing Champions and stuff like that. And one dude on the Boxing Voice said it was like an 800-pound gorilla in the room of why everybody was actually hating. And I think it's just, people don't want to bring up the issue of ethnicity and race and stuff like that, but that plays a big part in politics and how people feel about other people and stuff like that, and how people's environment, how who they grew up with and certain environments they've been in, they're going to have a certain bias or maybe a certain prejudice against someone. Does that make them racist? No. I mean, you can be biased, have a bias, or a prejudice against someone and not technically being racist. I think it was explained, the practice of racism is pretty much excluding someone from something, period. You know what I'm saying? Like saying you can't drink from a water fountain, or you can't do business here, or something like that. Or being biased or having a preference towards a certain people was just, it's probably just based on your experience. Like if you get kicked in the mouth all the time when you play basketball by a group of individuals, whatever they look like, and it's the same group of people, you probably going to have a bias or a prejudice against these group of people, because every time you play basketball or something like that, these people keep kicking you in the mouth, keep elbowing you, and that's pretty much your experience. So someone might say to you, like, "Oh, well, you're this," and it's like, "No, well, from my experience, I have just had a negative experience." I'm not saying all of them do that, but majority of the times, like maybe 8 or 60% chance, I'm always getting kicked in the teeth by these certain type of people, whatever. You get what I'm saying? But what the situation that's going on with Al is on like a borderline, because a lot of people, the fans, it's the fans to me, it's the fans on YouTube talk about they hate this PBC thing when it's on free television. I don't understand. Like I said, I had cut off my HBO and Showtime because, man, dude, it was like a difference. It was like $60, I guess, with taxes or whatever like that on the cable bill, man. It was like it's a big difference on the cable bill, when I got it. And I know it was a big difference for me for what I paid out for my cable. And I just cut it out, man. They wanted like $17 for HBO, whatever like that. $15 for Showtime. It's turned out to be like 40 freaking bucks, or $30, whatever. But whatever it is, I'm not paying for it. You get what I'm saying? Because I'm getting a lot of these good matches. Oh hell, it's gonna be on Bounce TV now, and then pretty soon it's gonna be on Fox Sports 1, from what I'm hearing. So hell, he's putting his PBC stuff on television, and it's almost free, because pretty much I just pay for my basic cable, and it appears on basic cable. And not only that, people are streaming it online, and not only that too, they putting this stuff on YouTube. And to the consumer, or to the actual fan, this is beneficial to you. For one, do you want to even be paying for television? Television was just television was just created for you, to sell you stuff, to sell you, the consumer, household goods. That was pretty much it, from my understanding. Creation of television probably had other purposes too, but it's just a medium, another form of medium. The newspaper and stuff like that. We got Twitter now. We got emails. We got different forms of mediums, different platforms to inform you of what's going on. You get what I'm saying? And you got your cell phones now. Hell, it goes. It's streamed now. It's almost streamlining communications and stuff like that. But my whole point is that it seems as if this thing just got started, right? And from it, a black person's perspective, if you ever, or anybody's perspective who's ever been discriminated against, or ever felt as if someone's being either extremely racist towards them, or openly being a bigot towards them, and especially if you have a history of your people being discriminated against, or being or people practicing Jim Crow. If y'all know what Jim Crow, I'm sure they had. I'm sure they have some form of Jim Crow in other countries. Maybe Germany, or Japan. Maybe something gets the Chinese or something like that, or maybe Chinese has or Russia. They don't like too many foreigners out there. I mean, they got neo-Nazi groups out there. But anyway, or like what happened to Hotel Rwanda. That was crazy. And was it the Turks and Armenians or something like that? Those genocides that that go on, extreme forms of racism and stuff like that. So when you see someone who's not you become successful and they make it right, you think like, man, I have a chance. So the society I live in tells me that I have a chance to make it right. And then let's say you meet all the criteria. They say you have to have this, you have to have that, you have to have that, you have to have this. So let's look at Al Haymon. Al Haymon, he's educated. He's very quiet. He doesn't clown in the media, so he's not buying for anybody's attention. He's not doing a Donald Trump, right? He's not doing a Donald Trump. He's not flaunting his. He's not a how would you say it? Well, what is that? Philanthropist. And if he is, he's not advertising it. So he wears a suit. And then did I mention he was well educated? He's a Harvard grad. I don't know what else there is to say about him because he's very private, right? And the people that he does deal with, even if it's bad, it's not that bad where they publicly go out of their way to shame him. Like Bob Arum, just an example. Bob Arum and Don King, and he's making people happy. The most important people, especially in this boxing, is the boxers. The boxers are the product. Like Mayweather, he's a product. He's a premium product. So why not make him happy? You got a lot of people who hate on Mayweather. They don't want to see him maximize his dollars, which I don't understand. Because at the end of the day, let's just say this. I've seen stuff on like YouTube. I've seen stuff people like Pet Rocks. Pet Rocks, man. I don't know if anybody remember that, but I don't. I remember it, as far as people saying like people sound like rocks, pet rocks, or like the chia pet. A lot of people were buying that, man. But like the George Foreman grill, it might seem silly to you, but hell, someone's willing to pay for it. They're gonna pay for it. So this whole Al Haymon thing, it might seem silly to you for whatever reason, but the networks are going with it because Al Haymon, it's at no cost to them. See, it says no cost to the network. They're getting compensated because they're in it for the money, and it's at no cost to the consumer. The fighters are paid, everybody's happy, but you have a certain segment of people who just aren't happy, and it sort of makes you wonder why, because he's not stealing from anybody. From my understanding, he's not stealing from the public. I mean, he's not stealing from me. So when you go down the line and you see a person who's meet all these criteria, especially in just as a human being, and then you have people come out publicly and say, "Hey, I don't like what you're doing." I was like, "Yeah, but you didn't like what the other guys were doing." I remember not too long ago, people were talking about Golden Boy and Top Rank. Oh, this is a Top Rank fighter. This is a Golden Boy fighter. Excuse me, man. I'm just like, I need some sleep. Jeez, be yawning. Excuse me, but Yeah, they're not gonna fight each other. We were complaining about that, and then a lot of people complaining why isn't this fight happening? So we get a few catchweight fights. A lot of people are complaining about the catchweights. So it's like, man, dude, it's like, what's the issue? So when it comes to Al Heyman, it's like, for one, it's pretty much none of your business. It's definitely none of my business. Speaking for myself, it ain't none of my business. It's about this whole venue dates and stuff like that. He can book as much dates if he want to if he's not sure where the venue is going to be held. Where the fight is going to be held, right? He doesn't know. He probably not sure what the dates. Then it takes time to get contracts back. Then it might be the guy's not ready, so you need to be a few weeks out and stuff like that. So everything, all these events don't happen in a day. They got to plan ahead of time, right? But the only people who are complaining, who have a valid point of complaining, are these promoters, Top Rank and Golden Boy. And I'm saying they should be complaining because it's I don't know if it's about race or not with them, but it's about money. I know for one, De La Hoya is definitely about money because he doesn't like Floyd, but he showed Floyd respect because he was willing to do business with him. And that's what it comes down to. When you might have a prejudice against somebody or a bias against somebody, but at the end of the day, it comes down to respect. You get what I'm saying? It comes down to that green, and doing business has nothing to do with any of your personal feelings at the end of the day. So with that being said, for Top Rank and Golden Boy, to me, I think they ought to just be willing to try to do business, if not try to go after the same business model that Al Heyman has, as far as buying some time on his network televisions. Hell, you know what? It was Richard Schaefer who helped Golden Boy get Fox Sports 1 and whatnot, Fox Deportes, and so they can showcase some of their fighters. So a lot of people saying like Al Haymon was the first to do it. Yeah, you can actually say Golden Boy is the first to do it, and nobody said anything about De La Hoya having a stable of fighters and mostly Latino fighters, and that was his primary goal to promote a lot of Latino fighters, right? I think he had some kind of LA fight nights or something like that, or up in California, you know. So it's nothing wrong with that, but that was his focus. The Mexican fan base is strong, and he was that's where he saw potential, where he'd get more bang for his buck, more return for his buck. You get me? So Al Heyman's trying to get himself in the game, and he's trying to do the same thing, and he's looking very successful. And De La Hoya seems to be better about it, and especially Top Rank. Bob Arum seems to be a person he don't want to be told what to do at all. Like if it's not going his way, it's his way or the highway. But I don't. Al Heyman, he works with a lot of people, man. He works with a lot of other managers. Well, that Warriors Boxing is one of them. I think he works with Lou DiBella and a few other boxing promoters. But to me, the smart thing for these guys to do is either try to get some financial backers, which Al Heyman has, buy up some TV time, or promote some fights on the PBC. There's still opportunity to make money. Probably not the kind of money that they used to, but they got to do something, or else they're going to be phased out. So let me know what y'all think. Is you think it's a lack of respect for Al Heyman, or to me the lack of respect this goes down to, either some people might be racist, man. Do you think a lot of the hate comes from, is it like a race thing, or maybe it's a prejudice thing? They're not used to seeing a successful African American guy. Do you think it's on like the individual? I mean, because at the end of the day, when we see successful people, we like to see ourselves, and some people just can't see themselves through another person unless that person looks exactly like them. You get what I'm saying? So let me know what y'all think, man. I think it might have to do with this Al not uh not fitting the image of who they expected to be the next boxing czar. You know what I'm saying? The Darth Vader. They didn't expect Vader, not Vader, but the Seth Lord. Hell, Vader was a field general. The Seth, he was in the shadows. The Seth, the dark Seth. But anyway, let me know what y'all think, man. Do you think it's just like a color thing, a race thing, or something like that? Because to me, it's not a money thing if you're a consumer. Cause I'm saving money. I don't have to. I don't have to feel forced as if I have to fight. I have to have HBO and Showtime. I don't have to have these premium channels. But yeah, for me, it's about money. I'm with Al Heyman. Anything that's gonna get me some free boxing, man. And the fighters choose to fight for him. Yeah, they're gonna fight for him. If they don't, they don't. I don't have no control over. Hell, I didn't have no control over who signs with Top Rank or Golden Boy or Lou DiBella or the Goosen Promotions. I don't have no control over that. Or Kathy Duva. Hell, Kovaloff wouldn't even be with Kathy Duva. And maybe we can get the Kovaloff Stevenson fight. It was up to me. Hell, they wouldn't be signing nobody. You just get a paycheck and just move on. We're just having on any channel that's most privy to everybody, so we can go ahead and watch them fight, and they can get that over with. You get what I'm saying? So the Crusher versus Superman, that's what we gotta be trying to fight for. That's what we gotta be trying to fight for. Sergey Kovaloff versus Adonis Superman Stevenson. You know what I'm saying? The fans should have a vote. And it should be on free television. And the fight should be free. Everybody should get free tickets to these boxing matches, so we don't have to pay for that stuff. So we have free parking. That's what we should have to get, because we're entitled. So, all right, man. Let me know what y'all think. All right, bye.